charm.
Hello, everyone. This is the Cup of Joe show. I'm Joe. This is Jeremy. I don't know what I'm doing. All right. I just wanted to spice it up a bit. I don't know. I have the tie. I'm going straight up professional. I just came from work. Jeremy is cold. Look, he's wearing a jacket. Wow, this is like
Christmas
This
present.
is legit.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I don't feel a thing in this.
Jeez, I believe it. So, it is cold. It is freezing today. And the roads are still awful here in Scranton, Pennsylvania. In case you're watching from Florida or something, I don't know.
But in all honesty, we know that Lauren and Sean, you're the only people watching this.
So, we know that you also know that it was very cold today. So, we are going to I was going to say get right into it, but we've gone a minute by doing nothing, by saying absolutely nothing pertinent to movies at all. So, we'll get into it now. We haven't seen any movies yet, but we plan on seeing The Wolf of Wall Street tonight, if we can make it to the theater, and if our cars don't break down in this ridiculously cold weather. We will be there, so we'll have more for you next week as far as movies that we've seen. But until then, we're going to turn it to the box office and Jeremy Evans.
Okay, well, last weekend was the whole Christmas weekend. Most of the movies had opened on Christmas Day, which was a Wednesday. And there were a lot of movies opening. That combined with, the recent expansions of some other movies meant that a lot of things flooded the box office, and I think it was just stupid on the parts of a lot of studios because everything just got too packed, and a lot of the openers just suffered accordingly, which you can see by the fact that of the 5 openers, only one of them cracked the top 5. So, that's not good. So, since I usually only go over the top 5, I'm going to breeze through the movies that didn't make the top 5. Way down in 14th place was the Justin Bieber documentary Believe, which made just $2 million over the weekend and about $4 million since opening on Christmas. That's fantastic.
Yes,
is it not?
Yes.
He's going away.
And he's done. He's retired. It's over. I mean, I'm sure it won't totally be over, but, as of now...
He's going to go into acting.
Probably. I don't... Oh, gosh, that would be terrible. But, yeah.
His movies won't make any money.
You wouldn't think.
But anyway, his Never Say Never documentary from, 3.5 years ago, or whenever that came out, that made $27 million-ish when it opened. And now he's down to 2?
That's absurd.
I know.
Yeah.
Anyway. Then in 11th place was Grudge Match, which opened to $7 million and made $13 million by the end of its first weekend. That's... No, there's no way to spin that. That's not good. Again, I think it was just too crowded. If there were fewer movies opening, we could have been talking like a 13 million opening, which is about what Rocky Balboa opened to. And, Christmas movies usually have good legs, so it might have done all right. But it's just too crowded, and there was, too many things that were more appealing to people.
I feel like that if that came out at a time where nothing else did, I mean, we would have seen that immediately.
Yeah,
wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I'd say so.
At this point, I mean, that's behind a bunch of movies.
We're not getting to it.
There's no way we're getting to it. I mean, I think it looks kind of funny. It's probably going to be awful, but I think if it opened in a week that wasn't Christmas, we would have seen it, and I definitely agree with you. It would have had a bigger opening. Not huge, but bigger.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Okay, and then in 7th place, The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, $12.8 million opening and $25.4 in total. Same story as Grudge Match. Could have been better, just too crowded, and yeah.
It was extremely loud and incredibly close. But no, the thing is, I don't not like the idea of that movie, and I agree with you that if it is too packed.
Yeah.
But I just probably personally wouldn't like the film.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's unfortunate that it was released right now because I think more people would have gotten to see it.
Agreed. Agreed. Okay, moving into the top 5, we have The Wolf of Wall Street, which opened to $18.4 million and had a $34.2 million total. Solid, but not spectacular. That's quite a bit lower than, say, Django, The D is Silent, Unchained from this time last year, which was another, on the darker side, cynical, adult oriented movie. So, but again, too crowded. I'm going to say that about every movie. I understand that this, season is a really, really good time for movies, and that there's basically a 2-week long period where movies just go crazy, and all of their weekdays, they're pulling in weekend numbers, especially Frozen, but we'll get to that. But you can't have this many movies opening. I mean, if you include the expansions of American Hustle and Saving Mr. Banks and everything, it's just too much.
Yeah.
Speaking of American Hustle, it dropped a slim 2% to $18.7 million and has a total of just under $60 million. That's pretty solid.
That's pretty
I'd
good.
say. Yeah.
I that's the one that I thought would definitely make it out of this packed Christmas and would do all right for itself, because I imagine that movie's probably going to have pretty good legs too.
I would think so. Yeah.
It's probably somewhere along the. Well, I don't know if it probably won't be as big as. Of course, I don't know. Silver Linings Playbook had spectacular legs, and
It did.
I don't know if you.
Silver Linings
you can
Playbook was a
match it.
late bloomer, though.
Mm-hmm.
It it didn't catch on until January actually. So yeah, it took a while. And American Hustle is starting out a bit early, and it was smart to expand last weekend. So before Christmas came around, it had word of mouth spreading already. So
That's right.
people, people were talking about it and be like, oh, I'll go see that on Christmas. People said that was good. Whereas, well, nobody has seen Wolf of Wall Street or Walter Mitty yet,
true.
so I don't know.
Right.
Okay, and then
Excellent point. I never thought of that.
thank you.
Of course.
Okay.
We have to pat ourselves on the back because no one else is going to do it. It's okay.
All right. And the number 3 spot was Anchorman 2. It fell 25% to 19.6 and has 83 million. That's solid all around. The first Anchorman made about 85 million, so this is going to make quite a bit more. But even still, you get the feeling that it should have done more, because the advertising was absolutely
That's
all
true.
over the place, and it's a popular movie. It was a really funny movie, and it's just built up an audience over the past nearly decade since it was released. So, but I mean, even still, it's gonna make 115 million, and that's a pretty good result.
Right.
Okay. And the runner-up spot goes to Frozen, which increased 46% to 28.6 million, lifting its total to about 248. That's absurd. And things like that, even around Christmas, usually do not happen.
Right.
Frozen has really, really caught on, and its legs are becoming quite extraordinary. I mean, and it's done very well over the weekdays leading up to today, and it's probably due for another small drop this weekend. So it's going to be close to 300 million, and that's incredible. I would say that at this point we have to entertain the genuine possibility that it could overtake Despicable Me 2 for the title of top animated film of the year, which was absolutely unthinkable just a few weeks ago. But it's I think once the holidays pass, its pace will slow down. But I think right now we're seriously looking at a final gross around 340-ish million, which is
It's impressive. I didn't expect. I know
No.
I didn't expect.
No,
that
nobody
from
did.
Yeah, I mean, I expected it to do all right, judging by the fact that there just weren't that many kids movies around.
Yeah.
But I didn't expect. I didn't expect the quality. First of all, and then I didn't expect the massive gross that it's. And usually when I read your blogs, it's impressive to see a movie not drop that much.
Yeah.
Like if it has like a certain amount of percentage,
like a 20-25%
exactly
drop or something.
like that's an impressive thing.
Yeah.
And this increased by 47%. I mean, which is not necessarily like it. Like what was the dollar amount on that again?
28 million.
20. So that's not a huge dollar amount for a weekend, but for how long it has been out, and like
yeah, it's been out since Thanksgiving.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's just hugely impressive for that film, and I guess good idea opening for Thanksgiving, and then it kept the Christmas crowd going too. So
yeah,
I think well done.
Yeah,
with that
definitely.
one.
I mean, but then again, you see movies open at Thanksgiving or around Thanksgiving. Lots of times they're not relevant enough to benefit from
Right.
Christmas time boosts, but Frozen certainly was.
Yeah, right.
Okay, finally, the number one picture, which Frozen almost overtook, was The Hobbit: The Desolation of Smaug, and that fell 8% to 29 million. Its total was about 190. That's a good hold. It's not spectacular, but that's a solid hold. And I get the feeling that the word of mouth for Smaug is better than in Unexpected Journey. So, we might see an uptick when There and Back Again comes out next September, but time will tell.
Right. I'm thinking when I'm looking at Smaug and how it's doing. I think it's holding pretty well for the fact that the first one was not that spectacular.
True.
And with all the other movies that have come out, the fact that it is holding on as well as it is, I think is actually pretty impressive for that film. And it's hanging in there. I know it's below all the other Lord of the Rings films and The Hobbit, but I think it's doing all right for himself. And I don't expect huge numbers from the third one, but I expect it to definitely be pretty profitable. And obviously with overseas, they love that stuff. But, so they'll
really
always
do.
so they'll always be profitable. But I think it'll do really well over here as well.
I would say so.
So that was the box office. The thing is, like nothing came out. Nothing came out because everything came out on Christmas.
True.
So we're kind of done. Interestingly enough,
Well, we didn't talk about there is a movie opening this weekend.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Paranormal Activity: The Marked Ones.
God. There is no movie opening this weekend. There's a joke of a movie. I wish I had a better insult toward it, but I didn't. But let's talk. Let's talk.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I actually read your movie preview, and I read that, and I really didn't. Jeez, today's Friday. I'm so messed up.
Hey, I'm messed up too.
Right? Yeah. So let's talk.
I thought it was April.
Right. And then you went outside and it was like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's cold for April.
So, all right, Paranormal Activity, the Marked Ones.
Okay.
What you got?
Paranormal Activity 4 was a bad movie. Paranormal Activity 3, I thought was good. Paranormal Activity 2 was alright, and the first one was good. Those are my feelings toward the franchise. Through it all, I think they're all interesting, and for some reason I enjoy watching them. As I said in my movie preview, which you should read and like and comment on and share on every social network that you have, and give me money and donate.
That would be great.
Yeah. Absolutely. Anyway, as I said in that, I like the fact that this spin-off is taking things seemingly out of the house. Like, they're not going to be in the house the whole time. Like, they're out driving around and getting attacked, and they're, like, out. Apparently it takes place in Los Angeles, I believe, or something. But, so that might be enough to reinvigorate things a little, make it seem a little more fresh, maybe. But, yeah, the franchise is probably kind of overstaying its welcome. And Paranormal Activity 5 is coming out later this year. Might well be the last entry in the franchise if they don't right the ship.
I really thought it was going to be 4 that would be the last one in the franchise, but I guess I was wrong. I did not see 4. I've seen 1, 2, and 3. 1 was terrifying, in my opinion. I don't watch a lot of horror movies, but I've never been more terrified of a film than Paranormal Activity. And I couldn't sleep. I didn't sleep the night after until the sun came up, and then I went to sleep for 2 hours because I was too scared to go to sleep, and that's just. And I shouldn't be because it's not real, but for some reason I get so engrossed in movies that it just becomes that frightening. That's why I don't like to see horror movies for the most part. And the second part is they're usually awful movies. But
It's true.
Yeah. But anyway, that aside, I mean, I thought 2 was scary, and I thought 3 was scary because those things just scare me. But and I agree with you. I actually thought that they were decently well done. I didn't see 4, but I heard it was terrible. But you know, it's as long as something has legs, just keep going for it. I mean, you see it with the Saw movies.
True.
They profited. You
Yeah.
know, the Paranormal Activity movies will always profit.
Yeah, they're cheap.
They're cheap.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know, why not go for it? I mean, I'm not going to see it.
Mm-hmm.
You will. You and Jason can go. And
yeah, by the time we catch up on all our movies,
That's true.
We're gonna see it in
Yeah.
like March.
seriously. So, but that's really all I have to say about that. I understand your guilty pleasure of Paranormal Activity movies because I have the same thing with Saw movies. Now, it is weird. I probably shouldn't even get into it, but those are horror movies too. But I see them as thrillers, not horror movies, and that's why I like them. But I won't get into that. Anyway, that's that. That's the only one coming out.
Yeah, that's it.
Wow. Well, I'd love to suggest a movie for you, but why don't you see one of the ones that came out on Christmas? That'd be my suggestion.
Or Frozen.
Or Frozen. Oh, definitely. See Frozen if you haven't seen Frozen. It's spectacular, honestly. So, if I haven't missed anything, are we
No, I
finished here?
think we're good. I think we covered everything.
And wow, we only had like 2 topics, and it's still gone 18 minutes. So anyway, it's been fun. Sorry we're getting the show to you a little late, but we have jobs, and it's snowing, and it's cold. Well, it's not snowing, but the streets are terrible. So it's been difficult to get together, but we're here for you. Cup of Joe every Friday, and we will see you next week.